In case you haven't heard it already today, your balls look amazing.
Oh, it's the kid getting worse. Podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. How are we all today? I hope we're all well. I'm having an absolute blinder in here this morning. Truth be told, this is the third time I have started to try and record this podcast. Oh, my brain is absolutely zapped. And look, that usually either means we're in for a cracking episode. The riffs are just going to flow. You guys are going to get a couple of laughs out of the episode, or it's going to be tragic and I'm going to be stuttering and mumbling over every second word. And based on the 2 attempts I've already had at this podcast, it's going to be the second option. But who cares? Let's see how we're going. I hope you're all having a ripper Tuesday. Let's see what this lady in the opening clip was all on about.
In case you haven't heard it already today, your balls look amazing.
Wow, what a weird way to start our day. Oh, and look, I'll just go out there. She is not our usual candidate for this segment, for the Turns Out It Can Get Worse segment. Like, usually we got like basement dwelling goblins that just go on there and say weird shit. This lady looks completely normal. Like, she looks like she'd be selling us a Pilates program or something. You know what I mean? Like, something the normal person would buy. But there is just still something about the video that feels off to me that made her eligible to feature on Turns Out It Can Get Worse clip. So I actually don't know if that's a compliment that's ever been thrown around in human history. Men listening to this, has a lady ever come up to you and said, "Hey, you got amazing looking balls"? You know what? Next time Nikita comes on the podcast, I'm gonna have to bail her up and say, "Hey, what do you reckon about the state of my ball sack?" Oh, God. Anyway, that's been our opening clip. Let's rip into what the fuck is going on in my week. It has been, as per usual, guys, absolute chaos. I feel like I've been chasing my tail all week. I've been here, there, and everywhere. We're going to get into it. But before we do, I don't want to open on a negative topic. I don't want to open on a low. But there is nothing more depressing than biting into a bad apple. That's right, guys. You guys come to the Can't Get Any Worse podcast for all breaking news, all the big topics. And today I would like to start the show off talking about bad apples. Now, when you bite into a delicious apple, you expect crispness. You expect it to be fresh. You expect it's like the perfect roadside snack, okay? And that is the exact reason why I was eating an apple. I have an apple a day because it keeps the doctor away. Not really. In my new little diet plan that I got ChatGPT to put together for me, it's like, you need to start eating more fruit. And I was like, fuck you, ChatGPT. You don't fucking know me. But anyway, I've taken its advice on board. And the only real fruits that I get around, like favorite fruit, mango. Love me a mango. But mangoes aren't really like a work fruit, okay? Like if I rocked up to a job site and I saw just a dude munging down on a mango, I would start to question him. He would start to get bullied on site. It's bad enough trying to eat a banana on site. And that's where I was getting to. My 2 fruits that I'm alternating, bananas and apples, okay? It's bad enough eating a banana in front of a bunch of blokes. Like, I don't know what it is about tradies just being so immature about another bloke eating a banana. You got to go to like the Portaloo, or you got to hide behind the house, quickly smash your banana and come back. It's worse than masturbating on site. You come back, the boys are like, "Where have you been?" "Nowhere. I swear I didn't eat a banana. Please don't fucking rip on me." But anyway, I've been into my red apple gear, okay? I'm a red apple connoisseur. They're my go-to. And I was on a drive the other day. Now, my work has landed a couple of big contracts at faraway places. I'm not going to go into it because the following story breaks it down a bit more, okay? Let's just say I was on a long drive last week. I reach into my smoko bag on the passenger seat. I'm rummaging around trying to find a quick and easy snack. I feel my apple, the perfect driving snack. One hand, you can chew it. It doesn't distract you. It's perfect. Thank you, apples, for everything you do for driving society. So I get the apple out. Now, as I said, red apples. This apple, it was a mix between a red apple and a green apple. Maybe the other side didn't see as much sunlight. Maybe it wasn't quite ready. Who knows? But I'm not going to discriminate against this apple. I'm going to give it a shot. So I bite into this red apple. I bite into the red side. And straight away, it just has this distinct taste of fucking poison. I'm like, I'm eating a poisonous apple right now. I feel like fucking Snow White. Oh, God. But anyway, I've got this disgusting poison taste in my mouth, and I'm like, oh, there must be like chemicals or something left on the skin of this apple. This is disgusting. Now, the first issue is, do I stop eating the apple, or do I give the apple a second chance? Do I go, you know what? Let's give this apple a shot. And I'm like, maybe it's just the red side that's wrong. So my brain just goes, you know what? Let's bite our way around the apple until we get to the green, and maybe the green side is better. Now, trying to explain this to someone like Adrian, for example, who said, you're a fucking idiot. It's the same apple all the way around. Obviously, I know that. But my brain, in my driving circumstances, I was like, surely it's going to taste different when I get around to the other side. So I slowly chew my way around to the green side, and you'll never guess. The whole apple tasted poisoned. I just was chewing a poisonous apple, just chemicals, sadness, everything's just rushing through my brain. And yeah, I would... Oh, it's the stupidest fucking story I've ever opened on. I'll already go out and fucking say it. That was like, thinking that in your brain, that's like biting into a moldy sandwich and then turning it around and biting the other side, expecting there to be less mold. That's how fucking stupid I was this week. That story explains how fried I am. But yeah, I didn't want to discriminate against the apple. The apple could have been green, could have been red. Anyone can be anything these days. So shout out to red apples. But as I mentioned, I've been doing some driving as of late. Work's landed some big contracts at some faraway destinations to us. So the other week I went out to Toowoomba. That's not too bad. That's like 2 hours from our work. I can manage that. We've got another job kicking off at Airlie soon, which is like 8 hours away or something. Hoping the boss puts his hand up to go for that little drive because I am not keen for that. But last week, I had to make the journey down to a little town in northern New South Wales called Maclean. So I've never been there. Said it to a few of the boys at work. I go, I've got to go to Maclean this week, measure a job. Everyone seemed to know about Maclean. Like, is this some sort of little hidden gem that I don't know about? Is this the peak holiday destination? So I start to get a little bit excited. I'm like, oh, there's going to be some cool things waiting at Maclean for me. But it was 3 hours from our work. Now, as I said, the 2 hour drive to Toowoomba, not too bad. 3 hours, that's where you start to push it. That's where podcasts and music and stuff, they start to get a little bit old. That's when you start questioning Joe Rogan. Like, is Joe Rogan actually the best podcaster, or is the Can't Get Any Worse podcast the best one? Like, we get it, Joe. There's AI music. We get it. You walk past a karate studio and you heard the chain going, thwip, thwip. Just throwing bombs at Joe Rogan. I'm sorry. You know I fucking love you, Joe. Please don't ever listen to this podcast. But we make the journey down there. We finally get to Maclean, and I'm expecting something. I'm expecting something to blow me away. And I suppose in a way it did blow me away because it was like I entered 1957. This town has not changed. Like, the building that I went to measure, they've tried to tone it down to like old-timey, but it's going to be the most modern building in the whole place. I think the locals are just going to go and graffiti this just to be like a big fuck you. Like, don't bring this shit to our town. That's what I feel like. But all the shop fronts, they're all old school. All the streets are all old school. It's all like one way, and all the locals are polite. They're all waving and shit. And I'm like, okay, cool. But the big kicker, I go to measure the job, and the shop right beside where I'm measuring, it blew my mind what it fucking was. It was called the Scottish Shop, I believe. And it was just bagpipe music blasting. It was just a small little shop front, right? It's not the big, like a huge shop, but still, bagpipe music was blasting, like filling the entire main street. Just an old bloke sitting behind the counter, big bushy white beard, zero customers, and just only tartan items in there. Like my brain was blown. Little statues of Scottish people. I'm like, brother, how much Scottish shit can you sell in a town of like, I don't know, what would the population of McLean be? 2,000, 3,000? Who knows? That would have been some good information to get for the podcast. But surely everyone in that town has walked past your shop at some point and bought a Scottish ornament, and like, you're done. Like, this guy has been there for years and years, and he's still managing to run a more successful business than the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. I'm up here in Brisbane. I'm in a city full of, do we have millions in Brisbane? I'd imagine would be in the millions, wouldn't we? If not like high hundreds of thousands. And I'm struggling to sell a fucking podcast to 4 people a week. And this thing gets released globally. Anyone in the world can listen to this. And this guy in a small little town is selling more Scottish gear than I can get people to listen to this podcast. So I'm thinking about pivoting. New podcast idea. I'm going to move to McLean and just start an all Scottish podcast. Just me talking about kilts and fucking bagpipes and shit. Because that's where the money's at. That's where my business mindset has kicked in, and I'm like, that is a smart business move. Let's do that, because this is not fucking working out. Oh, God. We're going to get into our next Turns Out It Can Get Worse clip, but before we do, more tragic news here on the podcast today for our Monday morning. I've checked the fridge. I'm out of delicious Celsiuses, so we're back on water. God. Well, I need some sad bagpipes playing right now, because I don't know if this water is going to get me through as much as the Celsius does. Celsius, if you're listening, we're due for another case, boys. Let me take a sip of this water. Doesn't quite do it. Doesn't hit the spot as much as Celsius does. So hopefully you guys are enjoying a nice, delicious Celsius. What is our next Turns Out It Can Get Worse clip? It is, if I've labelled this properly, it is this bloke right here. Let's see what he's got to say.
Not really sure what the whole fingering your own butthole trend is about. I see it all the time on my For You page, but I gave it a go, and it's really not anything so special. Yeah, I'm not really feeling the hype.
I must be on the wrong algorithm or something. I haven't seen a trend like that at all pop up on mine. Like, how do we get there? How do we get to that algorithm? Because that is the type of shit that I want to get to. Like, I don't know. Are you guys... Are you guys going to try this this trend after the show? But yeah, fingering your own asshole gear. Interesting. Oh, just a nerdy looking bloke. But anyway, let's get onto some gear. I know I've been banging on the last couple of weeks about financial situation and just being the brokest cunt in Australia at the moment. There should be a rule. There should be an unwritten rule where 4 people with ADHD and autism and all that sort of shit can't live in the same house. And of course, I'm talking about my family, because nobody in this house can sit still for more than 10 minutes. It blows my fucking mind. Every weekend just turns into jobs and a mini episode of like My Renovation Rules or some shit like that. Now, Nikita's been banging on about this for years. She wants to paint our house white. And I was against it at the start. Like, there was something, like, don't get me wrong, our bricks, we got disgusting bricks on our house. They're like definitely the worst bricks in the entire street. But painting your house white, it's a bold move. And I didn't want to do it at the start. But over the last few years, probably 2 or 3 of the other houses near us have painted their house white. So now it's like, okay, we won't stand out like dog's balls if we do it. So now I'm on the train and I'm like, okay, it won't be too bad. We ran it through ChatGPT. We're like, show us what our house would look like in white. And it actually looks pretty good. So now I'm on board with it. And of course, now that we've generated that picture through ChatGPT, Nikita is all for it. She's like, we need to fucking do this. Let's get started. Let's do it all. And I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes. First of all, this is a big, not only are we painting the house white, we're basically redoing our whole front facade, redoing the front yard, redoing gardens, doing timber features everywhere, the works. So it is going to, ooh, hiccup. That came out of nowhere. How do you get hiccups from waters? Celsius, I understand because it's fizzy. Water, I don't understand. But anyway, we're on the renovation train. And I pumped the brakes. I go, all right, let's plan everything out. Let's map it out. What are we going to do first? Yada, yada, yada. So we've decided we're going to tackle like the landscaping aspect first. So we're going to get a little digger next weekend. I'm going to rip up basically, I don't know, a half of our front yard because we're doing paths and new garden beds and all that sort of shit. And because of that, we have a little garden out the front that we've redone 3 times since we've been in this house. First time it was like a little flower bed. Then we put some shrubs in, but the shrubs weren't really taken off. So then we went and bought some like bigger and better shrubs, and those bad boys just blossomed. But because of that, they've been in there now for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. So the roots are big and fucking deep. So we cut out what we could and we start trying to dig the roots out, and they just weren't budging. They were just like Chernobyl reactor cables. They're not going fucking anywhere. They're still contaminating our yard. So I brainstorm. I'm like, okay, let's have a bit of fun. So I say to the boys, I'm like, I've got an idea. Let's give this a crack. And I say, what if we back my ute up, we get my toe strap, and we just tie that to the roots, and we rip them out one by one. And the boys lose their fucking minds. They're like, this is going to be the best day ever. We love you, Dad. You are the best dad in the world. It was like a mini monster truck event in our front yard. Oh, God. So because they're like, this would work if they were proper trees. I understand that. But these were shrubs and bushes. So the roots, yes, they were big and annoying to get out, but they were still just your annoying tiny little bush roots. Bush root. That'd be a good episode title. Anyway, so I'm tying the strap to them and they're just sort of snapping. We're getting a bit out, bit by bit. And this ended up taking fucking hours, like 4 hours, to the point where I retore my meniscus in my knee from just using my clutch so much in my ute from getting these roots out. But yeah, the boys thought I was the coolest dad in the world that day. So that was all worth it. So as of next week, probably going to be in here saying this renovation has bankrupted me yet again. I literally hit Nikita up. I'm like, how are we paying for this? She's like, oh, don't stress about that. Why are you worrying about that? It doesn't fucking matter. We don't need to worry about that type of shit right now. And I'm like, okay, you're the boss. I'll just fucking get in there and get dirty. But let's move on to my next little story. I got a couple of gym stories for you again. And yes, we're going to touch on my friend, which I never want to do. I never want to touch on that weird dude, but we're going to get to him. First of all, I just want to say one of my biggest fears in life is going to a gym during staffed hours. You guys know me. I'm one of the most socially awkward people in the world. I am a weird person to interact with. I admit it. I am a fucking tough person to have a conversation with. Hence the reason for solo podcasting. But I hate going to the gym in staffed hours. They make the small talk. I just want to scan my card and disappear out of your existence, okay? I don't want to chat. Most of the time we go in there and I've got my headphones blaring. I scan the card and the person behind the counter says something and I just rely on them saying, how you going? So I just say, yeah, good, thanks. Most of the time they're probably like, what the fuck is this dude on about? I did not say, how are you going? Weirdo, get the fuck out of our gym. So I get to the gym the other day during staffed hours. Worst case scenario, the manager of the gym is at the front desk. And straight away I know he's going to bail me up for something. So I walk in there, scan my card. He goes, hey, mate, how you going? I'm like, yeah, good, mate. How are you? And he's like, yeah, couldn't be better. What a good day. What a perfect day to come and do a workout. Straight away, he's over the top energy, just makes me want to turn around and get the fuck out of there. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be a good one. Walk away, go to walk towards the gym. And he goes, what are you training today? And I've gone, brother, please don't ask me any more questions. I didn't say that, but I thought it in my head, all right? And I already had my workout mapped out in my head. As you guys know, I've got a list in my phone that ChatGPT spits out to me every week now that I do my workouts with, just to keep things different and fresh. But I'm not pulling that bad boy out and running through my workout with him. So I just look at him and I go, oh, I'm not too sure yet. I'll see how I feel when I go down there. Expecting him to be like, yeah, nah, fair enough, brother, have a good one. But he just looks at me and he goes, oh, you came all this way and you don't even know what you're going to be working out. And I've gone, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm going to see how I feel when I get down there. Please stop fucking interviewing me. Oh, you are not interviewing me right now to work behind the desk, so leave me alone and let me go do my fucking workout. It grinded my gears as much as anything. But as I mentioned, my annoying friend at the gym, he's featuring again this week because there is a weird, what's the word? there is a weird flip to the story, switch to the story. I don't fucking know. But as I mentioned, I went during staffed hours. I've done that twice this week, okay? I've squeezed in a second workout on 2 days this week off the back of this guy basically calling me a lazy fuck last week and telling me to get my ass in the gym. Again, fuck you. Anyway, I complain about him all the time. I ended up going to gym the other night about 6:30 or something. And I walk into the gym. I'm working out. And in my peripherals, who do I spot? Of course, my annoying friend at the gym. But it's weird because I started to notice. I'm avoiding him, okay? I don't want to make contact with him. But what I do notice is all the cool guys in the gym. You know what I'm talking about. The big jack dudes. They got all the latest workout gear on. They're the guys you want to be in the gym. They own the gym. They are the lions of the gym. I'm just a small little mountain goat just trying to find my way through all these weights. And I'm watching, and all these cool guys are going up to him and having conversations with him. Like, he is the Jimmy in the morning, and they're the him. And I'm like, wait a minute. Is this annoying guy actually cooler than I thought? Have I misjudged this guy off the bat? Am I in a bad mood when I wake up in the mornings and just hate this guy coming and talking to me? So maybe I've misjudged him. Maybe I'm the annoying one. So as of this week, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to take a step back, and I'm actually going to try and have a conversation with this bloke. I mean, every conversation we've had to date has been terrible, but I'm going to give him another chance. I could have a cool new friend here. He could be the next co-host of the Can't Get Any Worse podcast if we hit it off on the right foot this week. But we had a basketball game on Saturday. Nothing new. Westy plays basketball, as you all know. We go to the game, and Parker is... how do we say this? How do we say this nicely? He is difficult when we go to basketball. He's running around. He's fucking wants to go to the tuck shop every 2 minutes. He can't sit still. As I said previously, we're all on the spectrum in some way, and his thing is he can't sit still. He has to be doing something. And again, he is a iPad kid. He's a screen kid, okay? And we try to limit it as much as we can, but on the same hand, we don't mind it too much because we've tried to get him into sport. We've tried to get him into all this different shit. The only thing that he really loves is like screen time, playing games, doing weird shit on his iPad, things like that. So now I've taken a step back and I'm like, okay, maybe this is his niche. Maybe this is what he wants to do. And in this weird world that we live in, you can actually make a career out of that shit. So I'm like, who am I to ruin this kid's hopes and dreams just by saying, no, you can't do it? So I understand there's going to be parents listening to this going, oh, you fucking rotting his brain. And I get it. We probably are. But who fucking knows? Anyway, so on the back of all that, usually at basketball games, we go, all right, P, play on your iPad while the game's happening, or we pass him our phone and it keeps him occupied for at least half the game, okay? That gives Nikita and I enough chance to watch Westy play. And on Saturday, he actually played probably a PB, I think. I think he ended up getting like 5 baskets and 2 free throws, which is, I mean, it's under 10s basketball, so that's pretty good for under 10s, okay? Don't fucking come at me and be like, but LeBron scores like 60 points a game. I get it. Hopefully one day he gets up there. Anyway, on Saturday, we just could not occupy Parker with a screen. He was just not for it. He's like, nah, I don't feel like watching a screen. I feel like ruining your Saturday morning just by running around, throwing shit at you, going to the tuck shop every 2 minutes, then going to the toilet every other 2 minutes. It was chaos. So I sit him down and I start to get my angry pants on, my angry dad pants. And I go, Pete, look around. All these other kids here are sitting nicely. They're watching their siblings. They're playing on their screens. They're just being good. And I'm like, and you're just running around ruining the game for everyone. And this kid looks me in the eyes and ever so smugly just says to me with the straightest face, he goes, yeah, but look at all these other kids. They're just glued to their bloody screens. And I've looked at him and I've gone, Jesus Christ, what the fuck did you just say? Usually you are the kid on the screen. Usually that is you, okay? What you are viewing these other kids doing, that is you all over. You're looking in a mirror right now. I don't know where this transition into a 60-year-old man on Facebook has come from, But this is not you. You basically invented fucking screen time. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do with that kid. Let's bail out of that one with another turns out it can get worse clip. This one vaguely relates to children in a weird way. Let's see what this lovely couple has got to say.
Don't take me to the baby aisle. Or we're going to need a baby tonight yet.
Okay.
No.
Just a couple getting their romance on in the baby aisle at fucking Big W. Jesus Christ. There's something, romance shouldn't be triggered by baby wipes. You know what I mean? Like, that is concerning to me. Nothing about the baby aisle should make you horny. I don't know why I should have to say that in public, but based on that clip, I do need to get that out there. Let's scroll down. What do we got next? All right. The two big things that have been stressing the fuck out of me the last couple of weeks have finally come into fruition. So let's touch on them. First one, launched the Creamy Boys Patreon for the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. Straight away, thank you to the guys that jumped on. Genuinely fucking appreciate it. Love the support. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the shit that's in there. So at the moment, there should be the extended podcast from last week, which I will say that was torturous for me. Holy shit. Reading through that old joke book absolutely had me in tears. On the other side, it was probably... I'm going to put it up there with probably the most fun I've had on the podcast in a long time. Just airing myself out with some of those stories was absolutely wild. So I think the Patreon is worth it just to see me squirm in this chair, just reading that shit out to you. There's also 2 stand-up clips and another 2 going in there today, which will be the two gigs we talk on in my week in comedy coming up. But yeah, early signs are all pointing to another Jimmy Missing business failure. Oh, God. But I think Patreon is one of those things. I'm literally sitting here going, just pull the pin on it. But I feel like it's in the same breath as the podcast. You just got to grind it out, keep going, and hopefully the Patreon grows over time. But at the moment, we've got 4 members, I believe. So again, thank you to you guys for jumping in there and seeing what I've got to do in there. So yeah, sometimes you just got to keep showing up, and hopefully the Creamy Boys blossoms into something cool soon. The second thing I was stressing out about all week, this was probably the most stressful thing, if I'm being honest, is the live stream down at the IBC on Saturday night. And basically the whole reason I was stressing about it is I tried to level up the stream this time. I built a little fucking curtain behind me that the sign could hang on, which I fucked up as well. I didn't plan for the space I had this time to be as big as it was. Like the first stream I did, we had like a nice little tight booth. So I basically set things up relying on similar circumstances. But this time we had just a big open area. We could utilize however much space as we wanted, which was cool, but it led to a couple of Bunnings trips to buy new curtains and shit like that just to make the set even bigger. But by the time we rolled around to it, the stream looked good. Like everything on camera looked sick. It looked basically how I wanted it to. And so that side I was happy with. And then obviously I booked all the guests and shit like that. I had Desley Robinson as the co-host. And then the stream kicked off. And that's when the chaos just really kicked in. Like the stress of getting to it, like I had to run the run sheet. I had to run the roadcaster, turning up levels and shit of mics. Had to be messaging guests and shit like that, all while trying to keep a conversation flowing for the stream to be interesting. So yeah, I'm so glad Desley Robinson was there because she well and truly like took over parts of the stream where I needed her to. So that was sick. But yeah, as I said, the chaos kicked in. About 15 minutes into the stream, my headphones broke and I could not hear anything in my headphones, which we were in the area where the fights were going on. So it was loud as fuck. We had the music, we had the screaming, we had everything. And I was heavily reliant on the headphones giving me the feedback of the guests talking and stuff like that. And because I had no headphones, I had to lip read the guests, which was hard when there was 4 people on the desk because I'd be looking one way to hear what that guest was saying. And then I'd go to respond to that. And when I'd turn around, the other guest would be already replying to it. And I'm like, fuck, I just spoke over to them. So it would have been absolutely shit to listen to, I'll admit. Then the audio dropped out about halfway through. Nikita messaged me. She's like, dude, you got no audio coming through YouTube. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I had to stop the stream for that. trying to work it all out, which I've got no idea about. And I just look like a confused news anchor the whole time. But insane guest list. Shout out to all the guests that gave me a shot on the night and came on. We had Jimmy Judge, heavyweight beast Dempsey McKean. Knuckles came on from CTC. We had Noah Stevens, who fought on the night, got an absolute cracking win. We had Jared Kay come on. I tried to line him up for an episode prior to the night, which we just, purely because of me, we just didn't end up, our schedules weren't aligning. We had the boys from Bosca Boxing Equipment. They are now the new boxing supply, the glove suppliers of the IBC, which is sick. They actually gave me a pair of gloves, which are up behind us there. So get around those boys. Who else do we have on the night? I feel like there was other people. Who am I forgetting? I don't know. Go check out the stream, or I put a post up yesterday about it. So everyone is on there. Absolute legends. Thank you again. A few of them have actually messaged to come on the podcast as like a guest episode. So we will see what comes of that. But yeah, all in all, the stream happened. Was I happy with it? Not entirely. It was just absolute organized chaos. And we got something out there, but it was not how I pictured it in my head. So for the next IBC card, I have, again, mapped out a rough plan, which I think is going to be the best way to do these things. And yeah, I'm going to be working on that plan leading up to the next event. But anyway, let's rip into my week in comedy. Thursday night, actually, I'm going to have a quick sip of water before I do because my throat is getting hoarse. Thursday night, had the Brisbane Comedy Cellar again. Feels like I'm there every week at the moment. So there was about 15 people in the crowd, but for that room, that's just as good as it being sold out. It is such a tight little room underground, so you could have like 5 people in there and it would still be a sick show. So I start my set. Well, I was like third on the lineup, so I was relatively early in the night. And the first couple of people came off and they're like, oh, you really got to work for the laughs. And I'm like, okay, is what it is. I'm ready for it. And I get up there and the crowd loved like my first couple of jokes. I got a couple of decent laughs considering the night. And then I just noticed to the left of me, there was like this old couple there. And I just saw the misery in their face. They fucking hated me, which I don't blame them. This is probably their one date night for the month. Like they've forked out to come to this comedy show and they just got to listen to this ogre talk about his dick for 7 minutes. And I was like, oh, I felt so fucking bad. So the set had ups and downs. Like the rest of the crowd was somewhat on board, but all I could play into was just that couple hating me. So I come off stage, I'm out the back, I'm packing up my camera and shit. And I'm saying to the other comedians, I'm like, I think I ruined that couple's date night. I feel so bad. And they're all being supportive. They're like, I'm sure it wasn't that bad. I'm like, nah, they fucking hated me. And sure enough, you got to walk through the green room to leave the venue. And this old couple just walks through the green room. Green room just goes silent. And this old couple is just death staring me. And I'm going, oh God. And I'm just pretending I don't notice them, shoving my shit back in my bag. And, soon as they left the venue, the green room just started pissing their pants. They're like, that was so fucking awkward. They definitely hated you. And I'm like, I fucking told you guys. So if that old couple is listening to this, I would like to apologize. Maybe you can have free tickets to my solo show when it comes around. Then Friday night, you'll never guess, I was at the Cellar again. But this time they messaged me earlier in the week. They're like, hey, how do you feel about headlining on Friday? And I'm like, headlining on a Friday? Put me in, coach. I'm fucking ready. So I get there and the room was hot. Everybody was crushing. The crowd loved it. And this time there was like maybe 40 people in there, 30 to 40. I don't know. I didn't get a head count. So they're loving it. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be sick because headlining is like the prime spot. Everyone is warmed up from all the other acts. Everyone is at a peak level of drunkenness. Everyone's eaten. Everyone's just ready to hear what the headliner's got to say. And, so I walk out there ready to go, do my first couple of jokes, and they work relatively well. I was happy with them. And then I get to my third joke, and I'm like, okay, let's ease into the kid gear in a not weird way, just jokes that I've written about my kids. And I start this joke that I have never had an issue with, not once. Usually does pretty well in every single room. And it is a joke I've written about Parker. He was born with a a rare medical condition called a buried penis, which isn't a joke. It's a fucking genuinely happened. But now he's had the surgery. He's got a perfectly normal sized dick now, so nobody stress. And I just wrote a little joke about it. And like I said, usually does relatively well. And I start the joke, and straight away, this heckler yells out. And he's not really your quick-witted, funny heckler. Like, he's not trying to be part of the show. He has taken major offense to this joke for whatever reason, okay? And he just yells out, "Don't fucking talk about kids' dicks," in the most aggressive tone I've ever heard. And I'm like, "Oh, what was that?" And he goes, "Oh, don't fucking joke about kids' dicks." And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm not joking about it in a weird way. I'm like, it's my son's dick. It's comedy. I'm like, people are going to say things up here that maybe you're not going to be all on board with. I'm like, but at the end of the day, they're all jokes. This happened to my kid. I'm like, I feel like I'm well within my rights to talk about it. And he's like, I've got kids. You don't fucking joke about fucking kids, fucking dicks and things like that. And I'm like, brother, calm down. I'm not saying anything weird. Now, this is where I fucked up. In hindsight, after the show, I was like, this was all on that dude, okay? I was rattled because this was the first time on stage where I genuinely thought someone was going to come up and punch me. This was the first violent heckler I've ever had. Like the anger in this dude's eyes, he wanted to get out of his seat and come and hit me in the face. Obviously, he's got some fucking childhood trauma or something that maybe he hasn't dealt with. And yeah, okay, maybe as a comedian, I should be cautious of all this shit. And this is where I fucked up, okay? I well and truly, watching the tape back, this is where I fucked up. I've got a throwaway line in the joke that I sometimes say if the room is hot, and if the room isn't hot, I don't say it. But based on my first two previous jokes, I'm like, okay, they did well. The rest of the crowd's having fun. It's just not this guy. So I have a line in the joke where I say, he's born with a buried penis, and I go, so the two weirdos sitting up the back that just sat up straight like they're about to go on some sort of weird pedophile treasure hunt. You guys can calm down. As soon as I said the P word, which in hindsight, again, maybe I shouldn't have said it on this night, he snaps again and he just starts this fucking tirade at me, just completely killing any joy in the room, just threatening to fight. The room is tense, and the only laughter that I'm getting out of the crowd, I start trying to dip back into jokes, and everyone's too scared to laugh now because of this fuckwit. And the only laughs I'm getting out of these guys is when I go back and poke the bear. And again, probably not the best thing to do when someone wants to beat the fuck out of you, but at the same time, I didn't want to back down and give this guy the win. So I'm getting little giggles out of them, roasting this guy. And I end up finishing my set. I'm like, look, I'm just going to do two more jokes because there's no joy in this room anymore. This guy's fucked the whole night. And luckily the crowd was all for it. They're giving me applause and shit like that. They're like, nah, keep going. You're funny as fuck. And I'm like, look, I appreciate it, but this room is so fucking tense that nothing is going to bring this back. And this guy has just his arms crossed and he is staring a hole through me. Like he's definitely going to beat the fuck out of me after the show. So I go, all right, that'll do me tonight. I've been Jimmy missing. MC comes and shakes my hand, and I walk to the back of the room to get my camera. And Chris Martin, absolute legend comedian in the scene, he goes, look, Tony said to me, who's the room runner, he goes, you should probably get your shit and quickly run to your car because that dude is going to kill you after the show. And I was like, yeah, I pretty much knew that. I'm like, I'm going to get my shit and get out of here. And at the same time, part of me wanted to stick around and just see what the fuck this guy's issue was. But the other hand, like, it's not worth fighting over some stupid little dick jokes, you know? So that video will be up on the Patreon this week. If you want to see some dude absolutely go at me on stage, jump on the Patreon and have a little look at that. But as my good friend Lloyd Bendel says, that's comedy, baby. So what a fun week of comedy. As I said, both those videos will be on Patreon this week. Last turns out it can get worse clip of the week. We have this bloke.
I don't care if you are gay or if you are gay, but if you are gay, you matter more than the world any of these straight trash snakes. And you are a somebody. Send me some videos of you twerking.
Just some weirdo trying to trick the gay community into sending him fucking videos of them twerking. I see your game, buddy. I see your game. It's not going to work with me. But anyway, things I've watched this week. We sat down yesterday, Arvo. We put Zootopia 2 on, which, look, not as good as the first one. I'll put it out there, but still a pretty fucking good movie. That's the thing with sequels. They'll never be as good as the original. But Nikita and I got about halfway through the movie. We looked to our left and right, and we're like, where are the kids gone? Kids got bored of it, and Nikita and I just ended up sitting there watching a Disney movie for the afternoon. So just just like the good old days. So parents finishing a kids movie alone, that is peak adulthood in my opinion. Big news of the week. I thought it would be tragic if I didn't touch on this, but Pornhub is gone. My God. Moment of silence for the Australian males right now. But the Australian government has come out and put some sort of block on porn content on the internet, which has led to not being able to access Pornhub and all that unless you sign in and give your ID and shit like that, which nobody's going to fucking do. But it all comes off the back of the government. They put that law in place at the start of the year where people under 16 can't go on social media. Stupid as fucking law in existence. Obviously, they're still going to be able to get access. There's loopholes left, right, and center on there. If I can get in, people under 16 are going to be able to get in. Those kids are geniuses on technology. So because of this, because the government can't work out their own shit, they've gone, oh, you know what? Let's just punish the fucking generic blue-collar Australian man and just block all porn on the internet. So, yeah, fuck you, Australian government. Hitting us where it hurts. I mean, fuel prices, sure, let's cop it. But you take away our porn, there is going to be riots in the street. I'm fucking telling you. Then let's touch on a bit of the fight news. So IBC recap. As I said, I streamed it. And it is just so good to see the IBC level up each and every time. It is getting bigger and better every time. And just seeing it on Saturday night, like the production value and things like that went into this show compared to the last one, just fucking, it is taking leaps and bounds. It is so cool to see. The only thing on the night, which was unfortunate to see, obviously a big selling point of the IBC is the diamond in the middle, where both fighters can point down to the diamond, the crowd goes silent, it goes pitch black, and there's just a spotlight in the diamond. We didn't get to see it activated on Saturday night. And we actually spoke to like Noah Stevens on the stream, who we thought was going to be one of the big contenders to utilize the diamond. And he said to us, he's like, to be honest, I genuinely, once I was in the fight, it was the last thing I was thinking about. Like, I was just in there, just wanting to get the win. And it made me think, and I guarantee Dan and all his like team in the IBC will be brainstorming ideas like this week. Because it's a big selling point of the IBC, and Dan sells it like that. He's like, it's the WWE crossed with the UFC, and it feels wrong to call it a gimmick, but that's like their big thing is the diamond. And for it not to be used throughout an entire fight night, I feel like they're going to have to be brainstorming ideas. And the first thing that came to my mind is add like a 1K fight bonus to their purses if they utilize the diamond. If you use the diamond and you get the win, an extra 1K on top of your win bonus or whatever you get. So watch how fast the fighters start using the diamond if there's money on there. They're in the fight game at the end of the day. It is all about the money. And if you start throwing money around to use the diamond, we're going to get diamonds in every fight. So Dan, if you're listening to this, hit me up. I might be on the board of the IBC soon. Who knows? Then the UFC yesterday. Now, I said this on the breakdown. This was going to be a very hard card for me to fork out money and pay for. And we're in Australia, so we are still under the pay-per-view model, which fucking sucks dick that the rest of the world is getting to watch this shit for free or through a Paramount subscription. And we're still left to not only fork out for the Paramount subscription for the prelims, but then pay for the pay-per-view as well. Fucking gay as fuck. But anyway, all reports, the card was about as average as we expected. Yes, there were some banger fights on there, but the only fight everyone's talking about was the main event, Oliveira versus Holloway. And yeah, I was watching little highlights here and there on TikTok and things like that. There were some maybe less than legal streams popping up every now and then. So I was watching bits, and yeah, Charles just seemed to dominate Max, which I hate. Max is one of my favorite fighters, so absolutely heartbroken for him. But Charles is one of my favorite fighters as well. And just to see him dominate Holloway like that, He deserves the BMF title. And I've heard people come out and say like, oh, BMF title's just supposed to be straight punches, no grappling, things like that. I don't believe in that. The UFC, that's what it's for. It is every single fight discipline. Everyone goes in there. If you can't beat that discipline, then you don't fucking win. Like that is the whole reason of the UFC. So I'm a big grappling fan. I've said that fucking from day one. So I like that type of shit. But I can understand why the casuals are a little bit dirty on it. But the big news coming out of yesterday, I can't wait for the next UFC breakdown to talk about it because we need to talk about it right now because it is eating me up inside. The big thing we've all been waiting for is the UFC White House card, and it got announced yesterday during UFC 326. This was sold to us as the biggest UFC card of all time. From the mouth of Dana White, from the mouth of fucking Trump, from the mouth of everyone involved in the UFC. You guys aren't going to believe the fights that are going to be announced on this card. It is going to be the biggest fight card of all time. And names like Conor were being thrown around. John Jones. GSP was even being thrown around for a little while. So us as fight fans, we're like, this is going to be huge. All those people are coming out saying, yeah, we're happy to entertain a White House card. And Dana and shit like that, they were shutting down the rumors a little bit, but they were still pouring fuel on the fire by saying, yeah, we're talking to them. I mean, anything's possible. So we as fans start to develop this card in our head that is going to be absolutely insane. And the card that got announced yesterday, it is nothing special. It is your general pay-per-view. There is no fight on there where I am like, yes, I have to see that fight. That is the fight that I've been waiting for. And because of that, the UFC is copping so much backlash. And I get it. I mean, I'm not going to get in the comments and be like, Dana, what the fuck is this? He's not going to fucking read it. So why waste your breath? But yeah, there is no fight on there. Like the main event, Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. Yes, it's going to be a banger fight, but we all know the outcome. Ilia is absolutely going to dissect Justin Gaethje. Topuria is coming back from his big layoff with all his personal drama and shit like that going on. He's going to want to get in there and release some aggression. And as we've all said, he is the next fighter of this generation. He has it all. He's got the striking. He's got the grappling. He is the best all-round fighter we have seen in years. And I do not see Gaethje being able to get past him in any way. I mean, we already know the outcome. Ilia Topuria by KO. Then we go to the co-main. We have Cyril Gane versus Alex Pereira. Now, did we know we were going to see Alex Pereira on the White House card? 100%. Did we think it was going to be Alex versus Jones? Yes, we did. Now, the heavyweight division, as we've said before, it's the worst we've seen it in potentially UFC history. There is no one standing out as the next big heavyweight star. We had Tom Aspinall. He's out with an eye injury. And he's just signed a deal with Eddie Hearn as well, which I think is the stupidest fucking professional decision he could have ever made. Him and Dana are not going to get to any sort of agreement as to how much Tom Aspinall should be paid. So he's more or less just kissed his UFC career goodbye. If he is just making the pivot to straight boxing, then signing with Eddie Hearn is the smartest move he could have made. So that's the only thing I can think that he is coming for him. So Tom wasn't going to be fighting. So that left Alex versus John, which would have been a sick fucking fight. That didn't come to fruition. There was rumors going around during the UFC 326 weigh-ins. You saw Hunter Campbell in the background getting a text message from a White House card falling out the day before the announcement. Rumors were circulating it was going to be Alex versus John. It has come out today that maybe that wasn't the case. It was always going to be Alex versus Cyril Gane, which if that was always the case, I don't fucking get it. Like, I don't get it. I don't get what the UFC matchmakers are doing. That is a horrible fight. Cyril Gane has had 5 title shots, and he has looked absolute dog shit in all of them. Why is he getting another title shot for the interim title? Like, doesn't make sense to me. Get him the fuck out of there. Alex Pereira, again, is going to kill Cyril Gane. Why pay for this pay-per-view when we know the outcome for the main and the co-main already? Then the next fights making up the card, they're not even the best fights in the divisions that you can make. So yeah, I might sleep on it. I might sleep on it for the next couple of weeks, and I might come around to it, but at this stage, I am as angry as you guys. I am not here for it. The only thing I can think is we think back to UFC 300 when we all doubted Dana. We're like, this is the shittest card you could have made for UFC 300. UFC 300 happened, and it was an absolute banger of a card. We had so many finishes on the night. Everyone showed up for that. So the only thing we can hope for is Dana knows what the fuck he's doing, Dana and the UFC team, and the White House card happens. We come in here on Monday and we go, you know what? It was actually a sick card. So let's all cross our fingers for that. But yeah, I just cannot see it happening. That's brought us to the end, guys. Shows to plug this week. We've got the Cellar on Wednesday again. And then we've got Sit Down State Final. The Raw what the fuck am I saying? The Raw State Final for Sit Down. Sorry. What the fuck? At least I've left my mumbling and fumbling to the end. That is on the 22nd of March. Come support your boy. Never been to a state final before, so I'm quietly stoked. Will I make it through? Not a chance in hell, but do I hope to have a good set on the night? 100%. Other than that, guys, jump on the Patreon if you're not around it already. As I said, extended episode in there, and by this afternoon, there'll be 4 stand-up videos. 4 or 5? I don't know. There'll be stand-up videos in there of my raw, unedited sets you can go and see. That guy heckling me on Friday night, that will be in there, so go and see some dude absolutely destroy me and threaten to beat the fuck out of me. Other than that, if you want to get in touch with the show, send submissions via DM on Instagram at Can't Get Any Worse Podcast, or shoot me an email at can'tgetanywOrsePod@gmail.com. I appreciate you all listening. I hope you all have ripper weeks, and I will see you later.
Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver